Pecha Kucha 260, Appleseed 3, and Patterns Practice. So I'm running out of manga books to read. I've still got a few comics. I'm basically down to my Masamune Shirow collection, which is an incomplete selection of books. Appleseed is the last of which. I don't have the first 2 books of the 4-book series, if it's a 4-book series. I have 3 and 4. Like most Masamune Shirow works, it's set in some form of cyberpunk dystopic future. And the main characters are Duna Knight, the woman who is a ballsy tomgirl super cop, and Brarius, a cyborg who is also a ballsy super cop, and them interacting with the world, which like I said, is a dystopic version of the future. And the book does kind of give you a little bit of an overview of the global politics that these characters find themselves in. The book is... This is something I didn't realize about Masamune Shirow versus everyone else. There's a lot of complicated, broad, and narrow things going on all over the place. I think Masamune Shirow, if he hasn't, could write actual books. He's so very clearly well-read. I find that the book is a complete package. It's got a lot of high-level thinking. It's got excellent action scenes. It's a creative, interesting look at a potential future for the world. This guy throwing out the big bangs is Brarius, with his what would you call them, rabbit ear antennas. And for me, the highlight of the book is when there's this like SWAT mission to infiltrate a place that's of major political import, and just the way that Shirow illustrates this, so cool. If I could do 30% of what he does, I'd be very happy. So I've also finished up with the daily sketch kind of image list for the month. I now have the option to go back and maybe do some additional work on any of the pictures because they're all unfinished, or see if I want to focus more on manga-centric learning for my book, where, you know, production will start in November, but I also have to negotiate what I'm doing with Inktober this year, because I don't think I'm going to do it the same way I've done it in the past, and it does start next Friday, so I have to figure something out. And of course, I'm trying to keep my Tuesdays going. I really do enjoy just drawing a frivolous picture of M. Bison. Just I don't know how long they take, because it's not... I don't regard it as like a chore to do these. They're definitely less than an hour, and I'm not really concerned about how they look. One thing I've been trying to focus on as I get closer to November is just like getting more comfortable with the tools I know I'm going to have to use. So I was thinking what I want to do this for now is try and figure out how to use Clip Studio Paint's patterns tool. So I was just like, let's just draw a picture. What came to mind? Oh, crazy Nobunaga, as if there's any other kind. So I just thought, let's just draw him standing, you know, at the top of his castle, with his back to the, you know, the little balcony thing these things have. Let's just, you know, G-pen it to a point where we feel like we don't have to worry too much about it, and then we start applying screen tones or repeating patterns, whatever I've got in the asset catalog that's pre-installed in Clip Studio Paint, so I can start trying to negotiate how I deal with these things, as well as being mindful of my layer usage to simplify what is effectively going to be a lot of complicated editing of work to make sure it's of high quality. So the way the materials panel works in Clip Studio Paint is it's just this thing you open up, and it's got assets in, and you can click and drag them onto your canvas, and then you can kind of cut and paste them to shape, because it fills the full canvas in the same way that real screen tones are just a piece of paper that you cut to fill the shapes on your image. So I kind of added the screen tones, I added some lighting, and then I thought, yeah, this is probably how it would actually be lit, because he's got his back to the light, but, you know, fuck that. So I lit him and gave him a hairy chest, because, I don't know, that seemed like the thing to do. I think that using the repeating patterns adds a certain amount of stability, and professionality to what is otherwise not a particularly good image. I also saw a little mini video on Jim Carrey, who is apparently now like a legit artist with a capital A. It showed a body of his work which wouldn't look out of place in a gallery in the 90s. Interesting. That's all I have to say on that. I have a high opinion of Jim Carrey that he probably doesn't deserve just because I grew up watching his silly movies. Fascinating. My second attempt messing around with patterns this week was I just wanted to learn from the first one, and my layers got really convoluted. So I decided, let's be conscious of having a process, following the process, and sticking to keeping layers clean, and keep them in folders, and keep them labeled, and put everything where it's supposed to be. So I did a rough pencil drawing, and then I put in a proper G-pen layer and a border. I did the text, and then it was about, let's go grab some materials, let's put Bruce in a suit that is just using pre-existing assets in Clip Studio Paint. You'd never see Bruce Wayne in a checkered suit, but I'm using what I've got. I found a pattern to grab off of Google for the tie, and it's really just about applying these things and figuring out if they look ridiculous. That guy in the background is the Batman who laughs, and the shading on Bruce Wayne's face is not grey. It's grey, like tonal. It's dot screens. It's screen tones. That's the word. But the way this shows on a computer is not always clear. From a certain distance, screen tones on a computer screen just appear to be a solid colour. So when I do my actual manga, I'm going to just use grey. But I'm going to print it when I'm finished. And I'm going to make sure that when I print it, it's been edited to actually print in screen tones. I'm just dipping my toes so far. I've got a few weeks until I have to actually start putting together my proper script synopsis, my thumbnail storyboards, and then start building the pages. It's going to be several hundred pages long, and I'm just trying to make it less painful for when I actually start. I think it's been quite easy going so far, and it's probably going to continue this way. It'll help me hit the ground running as much as I can do when it comes to these things. So that brings us to the end of Pecha Kucha 260. I'll see you next time.